hard travel day, everybody, and welcome to Upper Red Hook. You're standing in front of 45 Old Post Road, which is a federal style structure built in, I think, around 1823. We have done a little bit of research and we think maybe it was a spec house and then it was sold, but at least we know it was built in 1823. And what's interesting is there's a museum in New York City called the Merchant House Museum, which is definitely taller. It's a townhouse, federal style townhouse, built in the early 1830s. But I've been on the tour of that museum and it is crazily similar to the inside of this house. So it's just interesting how architectural plans were adapted, modified, because it's kind of funny, what's this style of house doing here? It's usually a little bit more vertical. Anyway, it's a federal style house, and yet it's got a porch that's very Victorian-like, and so our belief is the porch was added probably, and well, you probably can know even better, but maybe sometime in the late 1800s, kind of this very decorative style. So that definitely wasn't there when it was built. So that's a little bit about the house. The lot it's sitting on, I'll take you through. It's kind of interesting too. There's a little known road on this street that doesn't function as a road anymore, but it belongs to this property, our property, which is kind of funny. So,
all right,
let's take a tour of the road.
Oh, the old farm lane.
Yeah, interesting. These houses definitely predate ours, and you'll see that a bit in the footprint that we're going to walk down.
Mm-hmm.
So this right here, the deed that we have dates to the late, I don't know, sometime 1829, and the footprint on that deed is the same. So belonging to this house, it goes behind this house and it includes this road. So it sort of surrounds. But anyway, this is Academy Road, and the reason it's called Academy Road is because at the end of it, and we'll get there when we go on our garden tour, at the end of it, there used to be an academy. It was a school. I think it was built in sometime in the mid-1800s.
1820s, it starts out as the Red Hook Academy.
Oh, it does, okay. I don't know when it got changed to the Mountain View Academy, but at some point, I think it burned twice and became a Grange Hall, but started out as an academy, and so that's why this is called Academy Road. So you can see it's a road, but it's all grown over and no longer,
Not traveled on a daily basis.
Not traveled on a daily basis, but we have people come back here to deliver wood. There was barn access here.
We've done all the wood stacking for this season.
I don't know if we've gotten our wood deliveries for the season yet. Have you?
No, we are on home heating oil, but I see the piles of wood beginning to pop up all over the hammer.
Yeah.
And I hear it's a big thing that they'll deliver wood, but you have to stack it yourself.
You have to stack it yourself. You guys know what I'm talking about. So the barn here belongs, you can tell it's the same color, it's kind of probably from the same period, belongs to our house, this 45 Old Post Road. And from this angle you can see how tall the house is. This I think was an eyebrow colonial and definitely predates our house. Probably, what do you put this house in?
I'd say probably 1800 to 1820, settled around 1810-ish.
Yeah, definitely earlier. Our ceilings are quite high, and you can see that reflected in just the height of the house overall.
It really does look like a one floor short of a townhouse design.
It is
there.
it is. It's one, you're right, it's exactly one floor short. So the Merchant House is on East 4th Street in the city. It's 5 floors.
Nice.
So, yeah.
I'm sure it had some abutting structures for support there, though.
In
down
the city?
at the Merchant House. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because imagining 5 floors here in Upper Red Hook, you definitely have a skyscraper.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. So anyway, so we'll come on back, and there's a lot in the barn. You can see the beginning of some wood stacking happening here, but we're gonna go past. And what's interesting about this property is it really opens up back here because nobody has fencing, right? So you can see to a couple properties down this way, the property on the other side. And so what's beautiful is that it really opens up.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll be able to see that.
Look at that.
That's a huge barn. It's a 3-bay barn. I don't know much about. This house also an eyebrow colonial,
Mm-hmm.
and earlier. So
I'd put that probably 1790s-ish.
yeah. So and the property lines are the same as they were, initially, and so this all belongs together. So, but it's really cool how it opens up back here. Outhouse.
Looks like it hasn't seen use in a little while.
Probably a good thing. And we'll go up onto the rise before we come back down. And what's funny is to think that Route 9 was never here, right?
Mm-hmm.
They rerouted, or they created Route 9 and decided not to route it through
Thank
the Albany Post Road.
Yeah.
Which is... So this gives you an overview of what is our backyard, and then our neighbors there. That's a garden, a vegetable garden. You see kind of camouflage from the deer there. Every year it gets a little bit bigger.
It's quite impressive.
As we figure out more things to plant.
Did you plant all the yellow flowers?
No, I don't know. I think those were here before. We did it. David did a lot, but those were there pretty much. So we'll pop up to the rise. There's just a kind of flat area you can see where this was. So this is why it was called Mountain View Academy, because you used to be able to see the Catskills from this top.
Yeah, you've got the remains of an asphalt road here too.
Yeah. So this is where it was. The foundation was here. There's actually a building on Route 9 that is the same building.
Really?
It looks exactly like the Academy.
Where is it?
It's north of here on the west side of the road, but it's up a bit. So, yeah. Our neighbor recently cut a path through here, and I followed it the other day. It's nicely mowed, and it leads directly to the wine store.
You've got to have your priorities.
which is a huge convenience, I will say.
Yeah.
And then that's Route 9 in Cornucopia behind us.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it would be lovely to be able to see
Yeah.
the mountains over there.
Imagining that Academy here was what, 3 or 4 stories tall? We've got some
at
photos
least.
of it, historic Red Hook, so they really would have had.
Yeah, it would have been 2 floors, some attic, and then I don't know if it had a basement. Hard to say. Probably.
I would guess so. It's pretty high above the water table, so
Yeah.
shouldn't have to worry about a wet basement up here.
Right. I mean, there is a stream that runs here all the way through, which is why that end property is really marshy.
Foggy,
Yeah.
and we've got our lovely pond over there.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know the ownership of that. I mean, it's hard to, it's really foggy.
Yeah.
Quite wet.
We have a few absentee landowners here
Yes,
in
we
the
do.
hamlet, so.
Yes, we do. Boring. Okay. All right, so now we're going to come down and finish up
Garden.
tour. You've seen the garden.
I have, but it was nowhere near as bloomed out as it is now. This
Really?
is really a secret garden.
Oh, okay.
So what all did you all plant this year?
Well, every year there's some new additions. Oh, there's
Spiderweb?
Spiderweb.
Yeah. Takes them like 3 minutes to build one.
Yeah. Well, this is all more floral, and then the vegetable garden is inside. But David did an interesting thing recently. I don't know if he was talking to you about it, but he started researching a lot of native plants.
Huh?
And most of what we see, even still around here, probably about 85–90% of it is not non-native. So that means, you know, insects are like, that's not my food. And then the birds, like, where's my insect food? So he planted a lot of pollinators, so native plants. I'll point them out. And it's kind of, you know, we're trying to attract pollinators, make this more of a native, original habitat. But,
a little wildlife sanctuary.
A little bit. Yep. So we'll do a quick loop around and then head into the garden. And rhubarb, much cut back. It's enormous.
I love rhubarb. Yeah. Rhubarb and strawberries, great combination.
Yeah. So.
Did David build the stone wall here?
No, the stone wall was here. We tried to repair it. You can probably, it's already fallen there, but he's repaired it DIY in some places. But so you see some pollinators here. Like we've got some anise. The purple is anise over here. This is helenium. We have echinacea. But this is helenium. We have echinacea. So again, it attracts a lot of bugs, a lot of insects, and then come the birds. So it's like a flurry of activity.
Are either of you big bird watchers, use binoculars, that kind of stuff?
Not yet. Not yet.
Yeah. Well, it comes with time.
Yeah. So this is our super interesting compost pile.
That's how you make the good dirt.
Yeah, you can feel how it gets dewier and dewier here. This is probably a good place to shoot into the garden.
Wow.
I don't know, this comes back every year on its own, everything, the border, but you know, everything inside needs to be replanted. We have some volunteer tomatoes and other stuff, but
they look great.
Yeah, in there right now is mostly beets and tomatoes and kale. Yeah, but what's interesting, it's kind of camouflaged from the deer. They could they could very easily jump in, but they don't because they don't see it. And there's a lot of other things to eat everywhere.
Does this cover bloom or just pops up and goes away?
Not really. This is David's very sophisticated anti-groundhog technology. This this thing right here.
And does it work?
We recently had to, you know, address in a kind way a groundhog that was here. But, you know, a lot of tasty stuff in there, so
yeah.
Why wouldn't you want to jump in?
Why not indeed?
So, we'll cross over.
The bridge.
Cross over the bridge. And here's where you have some Joe Pye weed and milkweed, which are also native and pollinated. Usually there's a flurry of butterflies and moths.
Looks like it'd be good cover for rabbits too.
Yeah. But I don't know if we really have any rabbits. Do you guys have rabbits? No?
We have lots of groundhogs.
Groundhogs,
and chipmunks. Oh, so many chipmunks.
Lots of those, and squirrels, but not a lot of.
I noticed your neighbor has beehives. Are you helping out with the honey making?
No, but I think he's going to put a hive over here somewhere. But yeah, he's got that going on. So it's pretty interesting. We don't really, they kind of stick there, which is.
You have the invisible fence.
No, I mean, we are fully supportive. And actually, they used to be over here, and then he moved them over there. But they don't really, you don't really notice.
And you don't have big swarms of bees is a huge tree.
It is a huge tree, and we recently lost a big piece of it. Yeah, these trees grow really quickly. The name is escaping me, but there was one in the front, and we had to cut it down, which was too bad, but they just grow so fast. Our outdoor dining room, right here. And
It's going to be perfect for this fall.
I know. I think we need to get some heat lamps. These are from last year, dwindling supply of wood.
That'll at least last you 3 or 4 days.
Well, that's a different week. That's our neighbor, so we got with them. This, I think, here is a cistern. So the rainwater would come off of the barn, and they would capture it here, store it, and you know, their animals were housed here in the barn, but not farm animals. We think maybe more just horses, because the lot is the same as it was, and you can see it's not big enough for you know, a big farming.
Can't really put enough land under the plow here to make it economically viable. So.
Yeah. So there's still troughs inside, like feeding troughs that come from above, and then the water was there, the public water the horses. So that's the barn. And we'll make our way to the
Do you ever get to go out on the boat?
no, actually, I think he purchased those boats. Well, I'm not sure exactly why, but or was given them. So yeah, this is just the back of the house. This right here is the summer kitchen. So the original kitchen for the house is in the basement. Beehive oven, fire, open hearth. Probably sometime in the early 1900s they put the kitchen on the side. You can't tell from here, but when you're inside you can definitely tell it's sinking a little bit. So we're going to be contacting someone soon to figure out how to prop it up, but the foundation is not original, so it's just on the side. And I think we know at some point it was even like a dress shop.
Wow.
Yeah, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, summer kitchen, downstairs kitchen in the basement, and then built onto the side.
Lots of cooking options.
Lots of cooking options. Year-round cooking options.
That's what you need.
Yeah. So you can see kind of cut through, and then the original kitchen would be to the left, and then this is
Nice.
yeah.
Great brickwork down there too.
Yeah, it is. So, and then we make our way through the outdoor hallway.
Your prosaic arbor here.
Right? Oh, there's left in the meantime. Yeah, so we had that same tree in the back, that huge tree. We had one here, and it grew. It was just enormous.
Wow.
At some point, so we had it cut down. Before, I think when we bought the house, there were some Bard students living in there, and I think for a couple years there had been, and we got an email one day from one of them, just out of the blue, saying, "Hi, we were coming back for our 10-year reunion, and we lived in your house when we were at Bard. We'd love to come back with our girlfriends and wives and see it." So they, 8 of them came back, and we walked them through the house. It was a riot. They were telling us about all the things that they had done in the house, like suspending projectors and watching movies and like.
Give you any
stuff.
ideas?
Yeah, a few. I mean, that was kind of an interesting one.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then I think, you know, we've had it since then, and yeah, so that's a brief history history of the outside, and yeah, we'll have to reserve a tour of the inside for another time.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for joining us today.
Yeah, our pleasure.